Tonight, the end of Robert Mugabe, how flooding crippled a Texas court, and
I don't need you to believe me, I'm just here to plant the seed that the grand global conspiracy is that the earth's flat.
The streets of Harare erupted in euphoria this evening with the announcement that the 37-year reign of President Robert Mugabe is officially over.
Mugabe is gone. I can't speak right now. Mugabe is gone.
Today is a true independence for the Zimbabweans. We are now finding a new stepping stone so that we can see what we can do after this regime.
His ouster ended a political crisis that began 8 days ago, when tanks rolled on the capital and Zimbabwe's army placed the 93-year-old strongman under house arrest in what amounted to a bloodless coup. Mugabe refused to step aside, but with his own party initiating impeachment proceedings against him, he finally resigned in a letter to Parliament. Whether the country is on a path towards democracy is far from clear. But for the many citizens who've lived their entire lives under Mugabe's autocratic rule, today was nothing short of historic.
I was born in 1985. I know no other ruler, I know no other president but Robert Mugabe and the oppressive system.
We are happy that Lucifer has fallen today, and we are giving a warning to every African dictator that anybody who suppresses the wishes of the people is going to be removed.
Tens of thousands of Haitian immigrants across the U.S. had their lives upended last night when the Trump administration announced that it will not extend their temporary protected status. That designation, TPS for short, gives work permits to immigrants who are already living in the U.S. when their countries are ravaged by disasters and war, and protects them from deportation. Haiti first qualified for the program after a catastrophic earthquake in 2010. Today, the clock began ticking on their future in America.
The TPS program was always supposed to be temporary, but for some groups like Haitians, it's been extended so many times that it's allowed them to develop deep roots in the country. At this point, all of the 60,000 Haitian TPS recipients have been living here for more than 8 years. And together, they have 27,000 US-born children. There is no other home for them to go to. They've spent the past decade building their families and lives here. Still, the Haitians have only 20 months before they're subject to deportation, which leaves them with a difficult choice: abandon the place they built their lives and return to a place they haven't been to in more than a decade, go somewhere else like Canada, or go underground.
This is my home. I've been here for 18 years and I have nothing left in Haiti, and I don't have anything. I don't have a job, I don't have a house in Haiti. Everything I have is here, and we have kids born here that we need to take care of. So I need to stay. I don't want to go back to Haiti. It's not an option.
Haitians with US-born children do have some potential legal options. If their kids are over 21, they can apply for their parents to get green cards. There's also something called cancellation of removal for those with younger kids, but it's not easy to get. You have to prove that your deportation would cause exceptional and unusual hardship for your children. Representative Carlos Curbelo, whose district houses many of these Haitian TPS recipients, doesn't understand why the U.S. government is rushing to kick them out.
I can understand the argument that we should have a more predictable, consistent immigration system. We have this patchwork of special rules and some laws. A lot of them are temporary in nature. These people have to plan their lives 18 months at a time. Everyone I've spoken to, people in Haiti, many colleagues of mine who have visited Haiti, assure me that Haiti is in no condition to accept back tens of thousands of people.
This is the Harris County Criminal Justice Center in downtown Houston. It's one of the busiest courthouses in America. or it was until Harvey hit. Floodwater from the storm only reached the basement of the Justice Center, but it tripped up the building's pump system, sending sewage up to the second floor and bursting water pipes all the way up to the 17th. The building flooded from the inside and was left completely uninhabitable. And when the Criminal Justice Center shut down, so did the justice system. Hundreds of hearings had to be postponed. To get things moving again, most criminal judges have been sharing space in already busy family and civil courts. And sometimes, the county has to get creative.
How do you plead to this, guilty or not guilty?
They're converting old jail cell blocks to courtrooms. We address male inmates' hearings in the mornings, and then we conduct the female hearings in the afternoon.
The district attorney's office used to be spread across 5 floors in the Justice Center. Now it's setting up shop anywhere there's free space, like this ballroom at the top of a downtown office building.
We were forced to move 700 staff, lawyers, investigators, and administrative personnel to about 10 different locations, which...
Really, because I heard 8.
It's gotten worse. We've been told that we won't be back in it for up to a year and to stand by.
Have you had to prioritize which cases you're actually being able to hear?
Yes. Cases involving children, cases involving individuals who were seriously injured, we've pushed those forward. And then on the daily dockets, the people in jail are the priority.
Defendants who don't fall into those categories go to the back of the line.
It was nasty. You could smell feces because it was a big pile of it in the middle of the street.
Calvin Ward pleaded not guilty 19 months ago to charges he was part of a robbery ring. 2 days after the flooding, he showed up for a scheduled pretrial hearing.
So when you showed up and you find out that your date's been pushed back, what are you thinking?
I was mad, I was frustrated, I was hot, because I'm supposed to go to trial today. You know what I'm saying? This supposed to be end over today, I'm supposed to start working tomorrow again.
You were supposed to be working the next day?
Yes, I was supposed to start working that very next day, that Tuesday.
And then what happened?
I got fired.
Why'd you get fired?
Because I'm on bond, and they were like, we're not gonna deal with anybody that's on bond.
Prosecutors haven't given me a recommendation on your case yet either.
Murray Newman is Calvin's attorney. He's got a few clients, both in and out of jail, who are waiting in limbo.
The thing is about a criminal case that is lost on so many people is that it is the very most important thing going on in their life until it's resolved. Your life is put on hold when you are charged with a crime, and especially if it's something that affects your livelihood. I mean, it can affect child custody cases. People fail to appreciate how badly a criminal accusation, just the accusation, can disrupt your life.
Another thing that's been disrupted, the right to be tried by a jury of your peers. For a full 6 weeks, all jury trials were canceled because the jury assembly building was flooded. That building used to process 1,000 jurors a day.
Check-in is at the basement. Good morning.
Jury duty started up again last month on a much smaller scale, in a cafeteria in the basement of the county tax building.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the answers you have given on the information...
The scarcest commodity that we have right now are jury trials. And those are the crown jewel of the entire criminal justice system. Until they get us up and running again where we can have jury trials with the regularity and speed that we would under optimal conditions, then justice isn't being done.
The county wasn't able to tell us exactly how many cases have been impacted, or how long it'll take to repair the Justice Center. And before that work can even start, county engineers have to file a FEMA application that could take several months to complete.
You're waiting on a court date.
Yes.
It is within the realm of possibilities that you could be found guilty there.
I'd rather have that than go around in limbo. I still want somebody to tell me you're guilty instead of me being innocent like I am now, but still getting treated as I am guilty. And I want to have my day in court.
The annual UN climate conference ended on Saturday with 20 countries, including the UK, France, and Mexico, pledging to stop using coal power completely by 2030. But politicians aren't the only risk-averse group phasing out the dirty fossil fuel. Insurers are starting to see coal companies as bad investments and unhealthy clients.
Insurance is so crucial to public safety that it's often illegal for a business to operate without it. Because of this, insurance companies have a lot of power. If they decide to stop insuring certain types of companies, they could annihilate entire sectors of the economy. And that's what some people think might happen with coal. A report released last week estimates that leading insurers, including AXA, SCOR, and Zurich, have withdrawn about $20 billion worth of investments in coal infrastructure, such as mines and power plants. And since last year, many of those same companies have also decided to stop insuring entities whose profits mostly come from coal-related activities. Insurance companies are businesses like any other, and they need to turn a profit. So these decisions aren't just based on environmental concern. They're happening because coal increasingly looks like a bad investment. I asked Sylvain Vanston at AXA why they not only stopped investing in the coal sector, but are now also refusing to insure mines and power plants.
Soon after we made the coal divestment announcement, we started thinking, well, if we no longer wish to support this industry, perhaps we should also no longer support them from an insurance perspective. That's basically the property and casualty risks we underwrite for them. As an insurer, we are very well placed to know that climate change is a fact. It's happening. It's already hitting our books. So anything we can do to help mitigate and adapt to climate change, we're willing to try.
So for AXA, ending support for coal makes sense financially and politically. But not all insurers have reached the same conclusion. So far, the companies who dropped coal represent just 13% of global insurance assets, and none of them are based in the US. Vanston said American companies often see things a little differently.
Sometimes when I speak to some of my North American competitors, they tend to view sustainability primarily as a philanthropy initiative. Is it inevitable for the US to go down this trend? Honestly, I really don't know. I do hope so, because we certainly do need America.
US insurers have a large financial stake in the fossil fuel industry. Together, the top 40 American insurers have invested more than $450 billion in coal, oil, and gas. At the same time, insurance companies in the US are struggling to cover the monumental cost of climate change. Insured losses from the 3 biggest hurricanes this year are likely to approach $100 billion. And as costs continue to rise, American insurers may put some serious thought into following the European example and pulling their support from the coal business, because it's endangering theirs.
This is a day that's going to be etched in history. It's a quest for truth, and it can seem crazy, but all of us laughed at this topic, including myself. This is probably the most ridiculous thing I ever thought that I'd be doing, and here I am organizing the Flat Earth International Conference, but I'm not laughing anymore.
1, 2, 3, we're not crazy! Some of us are just nuts!
There's a lot of people that have different ideas on what the flat Earth is, but one thing we all agree on is that we don't live on a spinning ball flying through infinite space.
Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, gyrating? No, I'm pretty rock solid.
We always say, don't believe us, do your own research, but unless you know there's a question, you're not going to do the research.
Toilet water's not flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it doesn't fly out of the toilet because water seeks its level.
The flat Earth would be a circular flat area surrounded by a field that is known as Antarctica.
This white rim around the outside, a lot of people refer to it as the ice wall.
And then the dome is over the top. Now, how high it is also in question.
I believe it's some kind of a star field firmament about 6,000 miles above us. And it appears to be a cymatic light field, electromagnetic energy, not gravity at all. Gravity is a deception. The sun and the moon are these transcendental cymatic luminaries.
You're not ready to receive. I don't need you to believe me. I'm just here to plant the seed that the grand global conspiracy is that the Earth's flat.
The best part of being at a conference like this is I can talk to somebody that will listen to you. My mother, if I try to talk to her about any of these things, she doesn't believe me. I just can't take that rejection. So coming here You're going to talk to people who have done the same journey and they've come to the same conclusions and they don't want to live a lie.
I've done about a dozen experiments. I was actually looking to debunk flat Earth. I'm not like diehard flat earther. I want to be a flat earther. I want to believe the government. I want to believe what we've been told our whole life. There's nothing worse than being like, oh, the people that we pay taxes to are lying to us with our money.
They're lying. I ain't buying.
So who's they?
Well, basically, Satan.
I don't necessarily want to get into like naming. It's like, is it the Illuminati or the Bilderbergs?
The Jesuits, the Freemasons.
Or the Trilateral Commission, or the Vatican.
The Zionists, NASA, of course.
These are amazing.
Are you selling? Yes. As far as I know, I'm the first guy in the whole world to make a working physical model of the flat Earth. All these are for sale except this one, and that one got sold already. This one I had on the website for $575. So I named this one Hidden Lands Beyond because some of us think that there's other lands that they're hiding from us. And that could be very well that they've discovered these other lands and they just don't want us to know about it. I mean, we might want to go there, repopulate it.
This is the beginning. This will be put in the history books. Today, mark that date. Because whether it's the next generation, the generation afterwards, they will remember this date. People are taking notice, something is going on. This has got to a point now where it's becoming real.
Yeah. That's funky.
I got lots of swag and I be feeling hard. Walk up in the bank like John Dillinger. Walk. Rainbows, I'm willing to splash.
Hi, I'm Steven, and that was fantastic. Keep trapped ratchet, don't clean it up. Like, it's always just be nasty and terrible. I just need to hear that with full-on speakers that I just need to kind of partially be deaf at the end of hearing that song. I want to feel like I'm possibly making a bad decision by listening to it. It's almost like eating straight, teriyaki sauce, just drinking teriyaki sauce. Man, I love trap.
Gorgeous. You should take it as a compliment that I got drunk and made fun of the way you talk.
Well, that was a lot. That baby freaked me out in the beginning. That's weird. Here's a baby and then you're so gorgeous. Unless she's talking to a baby, which is even more weird. Just the lyrics took me down a different pathway. I was just like, kill me. Beat was pretty cool. Nice beat, got a little funky bits. I'm genuinely stumped. I don't know what that is.
It's Taylor Swift.
Oh, cool. That's even creepier. Smoky R&B. And it's very moving. Reminds me of Leon Ware a bit. I don't know, it's just very soft, very flaccid. I mean, is that... It's flaccid, you can use that to describe. Half boner, just so you know it exists. That's the I can't get an Uber, clubs closed, they're not serving any more drinks. That's that song. Sounds like the intro to the third season of Daredevil. It feels a little dastardly. That was more cinematic a bit to me, which I can dig. I can totally dig, Who is it?
Evanescence.
Yeah. Nice. Sounds like she just stabbed somebody. That was a lot to sit through. No, it's fine.
That's Vice News Tonight for Tuesday, November 21st.